Hello everyone and welcome to another Lunch and Learn. Last time we went over corridor modeling part 1, the basics of creating a corridor. And this week we're just going to go over basic editing for that particular corridor that we were talking about. Today we're going to go over how to edit components used for creating a model. Editing corridor properties, adding section and regions in a corridor, and finally we're going to create a surface from a corridor. All right, if you remember last week we left off with just creating a basic corridor, no editing, no nothing, pretty much straight road and everything kind of real basic and simple. Remember that it takes 5 components to create a corridor. Number 1 is alignment, 2 profile, 3 subassembly, 4 assembly, and 5 a surface. So first we're going to go on editing alignment. Editing alignment can be pretty much done just like any other alignment. Once an alignment is assigned to a corridor, it's just like any other alignment. You can edit it any other way alignment is done. If you need to move a PI, just click on it, highlight it, grab the grip, and move it. Once it's done, the corridor will update as it's done. Let me just use a real quick example. Here is our alignment that we have. If we want to change the end of this road to be over here, we just click and move it over there. If you notice the corridor did not automatically update, you can set your corridor to automatically update, but in the way I have it set up, the way my computer is set up, I want it to ask me to update it. So let's just rebuild that, and once the tool space is out of the way, you should see that the corridor updated without any problem, and it's lying to me. Hold on, let me see why it is not updated. Well, I guess it's not tied to the final ending point of our alignment. In that case, it is. So let's see. Why is it not doing that right? Hold on one second. All right, there it goes. It went right to the end. Let's just try this one more time. Let's just move this alignment out this way, so it's a little bit farther out. Once you've moved your alignment, update your corridor model, rebuild it, and you should see that the corridor updated all the way. Wherever it moved, it updated. I'm just going to undo everything that we just did so we can kind of get back to what we had before. Get all the way through. There we go. And you know, when you undo, you still have to update your corridor. It's best to do that. There we go. Updated nice and pretty. Next thing you need to update is your profile view object for your proposed surface. If you go over to your profile, that is the center line of the road in this case. If you need to make any edits, you could do it one of 2 ways. You could do it first by actually selecting your tangents, and you can edit using the grips. Any other way that you do to create, you can actually change the PVI by moving the location. You can actually change the length of, or keep on the exact same slope on that tangent. You can change the radius as well. Once these are updated, again, you just refresh your corridor and it automatically updates. So that's pretty much how you edit vertical profile by using the grips. If you want to edit it more by typing in numbers, edit it more intelligently, you can actually select it, right click, edit profile geometrically, and it brings back up your profile tools or your profile layout tools. And you have your normal edits. You could drop it foot, you could raise it a foot, you can add PVIs, you can add curves, you can add any of that data. Also, you can use the profile grid view to actually input information that you may need. That's a good way to do it. So those are pretty much the basic ways on how to edit your centerline your vertical profile view. Once you're done with that, click exit out. Next edit you need to make is sub-assemblies. Now remember, sub-assemblies is a section of an assembly. Let me get rid of this guy, so I'm going to show you how to do that later. Remember, it's just a little section of your assembly. That's your sub-assembly. If you need to edit sub-assembly, simply select which sub-assembly you wish to edit and pull down your properties. Once you pull down your properties, you should see advanced. You can edit many different ways depending on the sub-assembly. It gives you items in which you need to update. In this case, if we wanted to make this road 24 foot wide, you just type in 24 feet. It extends it out. You update your corridor and you're done. Pretty quick and simple. Same as cut and fill. This is a real good one. Cut and fill, if you decide that you don't want 2 to 1, you want 3 to 1. Simple, easy. Click on it, change it to 3 to 1. Rebuild your corridor. Boom, you're done. Back in the day when we used Land Desktop, it took forever to do that. Next thing is assembly. If you need to move, if you need to copy assembly, there's not much for editing an assembly, but if you need to move, you need to copy your assembly, just simply select it, copy, move. So there's not much to assembly. Updating surfaces. We went over surfaces in the past. I just refer to existing surface layout or creating existing surface layout, and that'll work for you just fine. Editing surface, pretty much anything. Just remember that each change you make to any of the 5 components will update your corridor in the future. So there's no need to recreate your corridor. Once the corridor is created, like we did in the last Lunch and Learn, you don't have to recreate it again. You just update it. You just change it. You fix it. And that's really nice to do. Next, we're going to edit corridor properties, and we're going to spend a lot of time in editing corridor properties because editing corridor properties is a key to well, editing your corridor. So there's 2 ways to get to your corridor properties. One way is if you select your corridor and right-click, you have corridor properties, or you can go the way I like to go to your tool space. Let's rebuild the corridor. Tool space. Right-click on your corridor and hit Properties. Your corridor properties toolbox or your corridor properties pop-up will pop up. Along the top, it has Basic Information tab, which you could change your object style, name, description, parameters, which is what you could set, codes. You could set different codes and sections, featured lines, surface, boundaries, slope patterns. In this case, we're going to do it parameters for now, which puts us to our next section, which is adding sections and regions in a corridor. All right. Under the parameters tab, in the corridor properties is where the baseline and the regions are defined for the corridor. Corridor baseline is basic information of the corridor, such as the alignment and profile. To add a new baseline, select the Add Baseline in the Parameters tab, which is this guy right here. A region is a section of the baseline that is the section of the baseline with a different assembly. Now, baseline is pretty much when you're doing more than one alignment with more than one vertical profile information that you may need, such as if there's a road coming into the side of this road and you want to tie them into the exact same corridor, you would add a baseline to do that. Your baseline is your basic information. If I click here, you should be able to see it asks for your alignment, then it will ask for your centerline profile information and so on and so forth. Which we'll get into more details about adding baseline later on. But in this case, we're just going to add a region. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to add an extra 12 feet of road in the middle of this road, just kind of like a turnoff or a turn lane or something, just something real basic, something real easy. The first thing you need to do is you need to actually create your assembly for that new section, because you don't want the exact same assembly for that section. It would defeat the purpose. So if you actually come over to your assemblies, you can do one or two things. You can recreate this exact assembly over again, or you can copy it. If you just copy, like you normally copy an object, and move it up, you see you'll have that exact same thing. These are not, the two assemblies are not tied together. They're not the same thing. So if you update one, it doesn't update the other one. This is an actual copy of it. So if I actually checked my assembly properties, it still does road cross section 1. It just added that 1 too. You just add turn lane to it. Hit OK, and now that's our cross section with turn lane. Edit our subassembly. Go to properties. Add another 12 feet, which would be 24 feet to the right. And there we go. Now we have a lane with a turn lane, shoulder, cut fill. Head over to your corridor. Zoom out so you can see everything nice and neat. Get to your corridor properties. Oh. Okay. Head on over to corridor properties. Parameters. Since we have a baseline already set for one assembly, we're actually going to put 2 more regions in that same baseline to define our regular road cross section. Then the middle region is going to be for our turn lane, our turn off, and then the last one is going to be for our road cross section to the end. So if you need to add a region, you right click on your baseline, add region, give it this cross section turn lane, and region number 3, road cross section. So road cross section, turn lane, road cross section. Now there's 2 basic ways to actually place in the information for your stationing, and that's what we need to do now. Is we need to go from so-and-so to so-and-so and so-and-so to so-and-so to create the turn lane. There's 2 ways. One, you can actually select the numbers and type it in, or you can select this box right to the right of that will allow you to go into your drawing and actually give a different station for you. So I changed it by selecting, or I changed it by typing in. In this case, we're just going to change it here by selecting. Change it here by typing in to the end. Now here's a common mistake that that most people make, and I make it as well. I just click OK. Okay, well, I've got all my regions set up. I'll hit OK. The problem is every time you create a new region, you have to set a target to the surface. So if you select this lovely box over here for targeting, you see that the first region for both sides have a target surface of existing surface. You need to make all the rest of this the exact same way. And now it all ties to existing surface. What most people do is they don't do this before they hit OK. And they come in there going, why isn't it going to the surface? This is stupid. Why isn't it going to the surface? Well, you just forgot to set it to the surface. Just go back into your properties, set our targets to your surface, and you're done. Once you click OK, you're set. Hit all right. Whoa. Oh, it's just telling me the different regions don't match, and I don't see why. It's just always a problem whenever I whenever I do this. It always seems to be a problem. You can never give it the right number. So I just go a number above and tie it in together. And I'll show you how to edit that in a second. Now if you look, you have your drive coming in for the full cross section. You have another 12-foot turn lane, and you have another, and it goes back to your normal drive. If you need to change the how long your turn lane is in any way, if you just select your corridor, there's grips on either side which will allow you to change the range or region of your cross section. So just make your region of your corridor. So you just select and change it up. Once you're done with that, you do have to rebuild your corridor. And it rebuilds it, fix it up for you. That must be that 1 foot jump change that I made. All right, let's rebuild that again. Now I know that most people are asking, well, this is kind of jumping in and out. You can change that by frequency, which we'll go into a little bit later. You can actually change, instead of 25-foot frequency of a cross section, you should give it 5 feet or 2 feet or 1 foot. I mean, if you want to get that detailed, but majority of the time it's not needed. So that's pretty much how you add the turn lane into your corridor model. Next thing we're going to do is now just create a real quick surface from that corridor model. Simple way to do it, go to your tool space, go to your properties, bring up your properties, and along your top tabs you have surface. Pretty simple, right? All the way to the left you just have create corridor surface, create corridor surface from each link, and then you have surface name template, which is all right. We just go with create corridor surface. If you select that, it will start creating your surface. Now you have different, you can add data to your surface if you need it for a later time, such as you can add links or you can add feature lines. We'll get a little bit more detailed on that. So you just add whatever you need to your surface. I'm just going to add a couple here. I'm going to add the daylight line because I'm probably going to need it to add automatically the boundaries. So once you have your surface created, the data you may need, click OK, and you should see your surface create. It's pretty. That's not too bad, but if you notice, there's not a boundary set for this surface. You can do one or two ways. You could do a polyline around the outside, which sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it is sometimes the best way, but not always. They have not really perfected this add boundary automatically. Yet it's not the greatest thing, but if you're doing an advanced corridor, it kind of gets a little tricky. You can add a boundary to your surface for your corridor by clicking on the boundaries. Right-clicking the surface in which you've created, you can add automatically, and then to the daylight line. In this case, it's the outside boundary. You click OK, and it should put a boundary around the outside. And see, if you notice, it did not do that. And I can't explain to you why. It's not the greatest tool to use. Hopefully, one day they will perfect it. Whether or not they're focused on perfecting that or not, I have no idea. And you can come in here and add more boundaries for it, and see, sometimes it just does not work the greatest. So it is majority of the time safe to say that drawing a polyline around the outside of your corridor is typically the best at this time until they perfect adding automatically boundaries around your surface. You add it simply by selecting the outside of your corridor with polyline, close your polyline, and add it to your surface, your new surface that was created, which is in this case this one, by clicking on boundaries and hit add. I hope that answers a lot of questions about editing corridors and the information that may be needed. I know this was kind of a sketchy, kind of all over the place video and all over the place handout. I would encourage you to take the time and kind of jump into your corridor properties in a corridor and just kind of do this a couple of times, change it up. Anything that you can imagine, you can do it. Just try to do it in a corridor the best you can. If you have trouble finding out what to do, you feel free to contact me. Also, there's plenty of different resources online that you can do about corridor modeling. That's the end of our video, and that's the end of our Lunch and Learn. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I will see you next time.